Hey you guys, what's going on? It's me, Ashley. Thank you for tuning into my channel. So today I'm all like done up just because I was playing around in my makeup, taking some pictures, and I decided to make my video because my main excuse for putting off my videos is that I never look presentable, because after work I'm like a mess, or during the weekend I'm sleeping and just laying around and running errands, and I never look like comfortable. Like, I never feel comfortable enough to come on the camera. But the videos I post after this, I don't look all like this. I look a lot more normal than this. But today's video is going to be a very requested video. As you guys know, I did like 2 videos almost 2 years ago. They got really high numbers and a lot of comments. One was my 1-month IUD update, and the second one was how to get hired at Victoria's Secret. I got great comments on both videos, and I was really communicating with people. So I wanted to do this video today to update you guys on my IUD, because a lot of people said they could relate to the situation and they wanted to know more about it. So the IUD, I had it in for about 14 months, which is like a year and 2 months, and you guys, I hated it. To be completely honest, I would not recommend it to anyone else just because of how I felt while I was on it. I am someone that is very forgetful, even the most important things. Paying my bills is like, girl, your bill is due tomorrow, and then I'm like rushing to do it, or remembering that I have to do something or go somewhere. I'm very forgetful. It's just something that I'm slowly breaking out of, but it's very hard. So when it came to birth control, I wanted something that I would be able to have or take, whereas though I didn't have to remember all the time to do certain things. I've been on a lot of birth controls. If you watch the previous video, I kind of list everything, but I've done the pill, I've done the Depo, I've done the NuvaRing, I did the IUD, I think that's it. So I did about 4 different types of birth controls, maybe 5. Pill, Depo, IUD, NuvaRing. And I want to say it's one more that I did, but I think it might just be 4. And there aren't that many types of birth control. So, I kind of tested everything out to see which one fit with me better. And like I said, I'm very forgetful, so the pill was always hard because I would forget to take it. The Depo is something that you have to go to your doctor very frequently to get your next shot. The NuvaRing wasn't that hard to remember because it's in there, and sometimes you remember like, oh crap, I gotta take this out. But it's basically like digging for gold, because you gotta really get in there. So I was like, ugh, not feeling it. What else? And then the IUD was the best thing for me at the time, because you just go get it inserted and then that's it. You come back I think every year for like your annual checkup, and they'll give you all, your questions and how are you feeling and stuff like that. But if you're not having any problems, you're kind of good to go. I was really excited about the IUD. I actually went to Planned Parenthood to get my IUD. Now, a lot of people, when they think of Planned Parenthood, they just think of like abortions and free condoms. But Planned Parenthood does so much more, and it's really great for the different communities and for people who don't have gynecologists and insurance and things like that. Planned Parenthood is pretty awesome. I'm a big fan of it. I have insurance. I had insurance when I got it. I have insurance now. But it was weird because my doctor, my gynecologist that I would go to through my insurance, I don't know if this was true, but they were supposedly like a Christian organization or an independent organization or doctor's office, and certain birth controls they did not do. So I know one birth control, like the Eplenon, I believe is how you pronounce it, which is that little chip that goes in your arm. My doctor's office wouldn't do that, and they wouldn't do the IUD. They would give you the pills or NuvaRing, and that was kind of like your only options. I know when I was going there, They were talking about how they were trying to get the Eplenon, but they weren't 100% sure. And it was just really weird. They were like, we don't do those other things. Like, we only do a set field because of our beliefs in this hospital or whatever. So I was like, okay, but I didn't want any of those options at the time. So that's why I went to Planned Parenthood. And it was just really convenient to go to Planned Parenthood because it was in the downtown area. It was really close to my job at the time. So I could legit make an appointment and go on my lunch break and take like a long lunch, or, you know, go after work or before lunch and come in late or leave early, you know, those type of situations. So it was perfect for me. Now, Planned Parenthood was really, really well. The one thing that I don't like about Planned Parenthood is they are very, very, very serious and strong about having you on some form of birth control. So a lot of times when you go there and you're saying I'm having issues from my birth control, they try to make you hold out and say, well, you know, just give it some time. Everyone goes through these things, or, you know, if you don't want this in a few more weeks or whatever, we can give you this. And it's never just like, I mean, granted, they can't force you to do anything and keep something in you that you don't want, but they're just very persistent about keeping you on birth control. And it was funny because after a while, when I was on when I had my IUD, I actually stopped having sex. So it was basically like I was having sex in the beginning, and then towards the end I was like taking my celibacy journey, which I do on and off. Don't judge me, judge your mom. It's like, no, just letting you but you know, I do that every once in a blue. So I wasn't even having sex the last portion of having my IUD. So it was really just like, I don't want to be on any birth control or any chemicals or hormones or things like that. Like, just cut it all out. But after I got it taken out, they still did prescribe me the pill, and I just would go pick it up and not use it. And I have like a whole cabinet full of like birth control or whatever, but I'm not doing anything, so it's still like just collecting dust. But my experience with the IUD, I was not a fan of the IUD. From the first time it got inserted, it hurts so bad. It really does hurt. It's a quick pain, but it's very painful. I got it afterwards. It was a lot of bleeding. You know, they call it spotting, but it was basically like a full-on period. I realized throughout my time having the IUD, I went from being someone who was only on their period for like 3 to 5 days to someone that was on my period for like a whole week, a full 7 days. Granted, the last couple days it would be light, but it was still on for like a whole week. I was someone who typically only had cramps the first full day and started having cramps throughout my whole period. I started getting like side effects that I never had before that really creeped me out. One thing that would happen is I would get sharp shooting pains down my left leg, and at first it really made me nervous because, you know, I'm not a doctor, but I know for a lot of different like attacks, like whether it be a heart attack or strokes and things like that, you get tingling sensations on certain sides of your body or certain parts, and it really threw me off. It wasn't until I was talking to my cousin just about everything, and she told me that one of her symptoms of her period is that she gets shooting pains in her leg. So that definitely gave me some relief, because I was like, okay, this is something that people get during their time of the month. It's just something I'm not used to. But, you know, I was like, okay, I'm not dying. I'm not having a heart attack. And I say that, and I know some people are like, girl, shut up. But no, I was watching the news last week, and they were talking about a woman who basically was having a heart attack for like 2 days. And she got sharp pains going up like the left or right side of her body. She was throwing up. She felt really like fatigued. And they're like, bro, you had a heart attack. Like, you were having a heart attack. And that's another thing. Women, our pain tolerance is like super high. Even if you think it's not, we go through cramps every month. You know, some people worse than others. So think about that. If it was a guy having cramps, I swear the emergency rooms and doctors' offices would be completely full, because our bodies really do handle pain very well. Even if you get emotional and you cry or you're hurting, you're still able to like get up and do what you have to do. And that shows like how strong the female body is. But, you know, like I said, I just had a bad experience on it. The fact that it started lasting so long, I was like, what the heck? Like, this is ridiculous. And I think the one thing that gets people about the IUD or birth control in general is when those doctors make that holy promise. You guys know what that promise is. I'm gonna wait, because I know some of y'all saying it out loud as you watching this video. Oh, you're not gonna have any periods. Or, oh, a lot of people that are on this birth control or whatever, they like say their period goes away in a few months. And that's like the promise from like above, where someone says your period is going to be gone. And even for those who get like light periods and, you know, don't go through, you know, a lot, that promise is still so amazing and so like gratifying that you're like, oh, please let this be true, because no one wants to bleed at all, especially down there. No one wants to have to deal with just like the icky feeling, the fatigue, the running to the bathroom all the time. Even if you don't have really bad like cramps and things like that, just the idea that you're gonna be without a period is like amazing. It's like, oh, and we ignore all the other things they said, like in those commercials where they're like, side effects may include nausea, diarrhea, heartburn, indigestion, you know, violently vomiting, like all that stuff. You like ignore it as soon as they say like no period. And that's kind of how I was like, oh, okay, all right, my period gonna be off, baby, sign me up. So that's kind of how it got me. But at the same time, I was sexually active with a boyfriend, so I was just like, and I don't have to remember, and I'm not gonna be able to, and I won't have kids. Like, it was like the perfect thing for me. So I like jumped on it, but the way I felt was just really bad. The one thing I will say is when your body starts to give you the idea or the feeling that something is not right, definitely listen, because it was just so many times where I was like in pain. And at the time I worked at I don't want to say a cosmetic center, but they did like Botox and things like that. And the people that would do the different services were registered nurses, and I would be talking to them like, yo, I want to yank this thing out. Do you think it will cause damage? And they're like, Ashley, no, you could really hurt yourself. Like, make an appointment, make an appointment. And the appointments were just so far out, so I just had to wait even longer. And that's what got me into like my 2 months, because after that first year I was like, oh, take this out, baby. Yank this string out, take it out. But with work and how my schedule was already created for work, and then the appointments being like so far back, especially for like birth control, because with Planned Parenthood, they break the appointments down. You have like abortions, birth control, annual checkup, and you know, they could have 10 appointments available for an annual checkup in 1 week, and then only had 1 appointment for a birth control checkup. So that's where it gets like complicated and messy, and that's what happened to me. That's what pushed it out so far. But I was just in so much pain, you guys. Even if you watch my original video, I had to keep stopping in the middle of sentences because I was in so much pain. But the good thing is that pain is what drove me to make the video. And it was just like horrible. I just felt really bad. The pain was just so horrible. When I tell you my cramps, like I said, normally my cramps would be there first full day, and it would be little ones here and there. I would take a couple ibuprofens and be good to go. This was something that even the ibuprofens did not work, and I would be at my desk and I would have to be hunched over at my keyboard to make the cramping feeling stop. And as soon as I got up, I would be like, yo, what the hell? It would hurt so bad, and I got so tired. And then the migraines. I got really bad migraines, and I was reading that people were saying they're like hormonal migraines that a lot of women get. I didn't know anything about it. I had migraines before, but a lot of times I put it off as my glasses, because I wear glasses 24/7. The only reason why I don't have them on is because I have my little false lashes on, and they would be like hitting my frames and making it really uncomfortable for me. But the way I work is my eyes work is I'm nearsighted and farsighted, so I don't need them on 24/7. Like looking at myself, I look clear, but I will, you know, start to get headaches because I'm like my eyes are straining. But it was just horrible. Like I would get these migraines that I gotten migraines a few times in a year, maybe like once or twice in a year, where I just had to like turn everything off. But it got to the point where every month I was just getting these horrible migraines, and I would be in bed with the covers over my head, lights off, you know, just in pain. And I just was like, this is ridiculous, you know. So I had to get it out. I had to. I did a year. I suffered through it for a year, and I still had my period. I wasn't pregnant, so that was good, but my period was still on, and I was just really upset with this. I was like, oh, y'all hit me with the okie doke, because I thought this was going to be smooth sailing, and it was not. So if you were to ask me today, would I recommend the IUD? I would say no. Put an alarm on your phone, take the pill, or get the NuvaRing and put some gloves on and dig for that thing and plant that thing and everything else. The Depo, I still would say no, because their first 2 months or like month and a half, when you're getting used to it, baby, the first day I had it, it was like the second day I was in college, and I thought I had a stomach virus. I threw up in the doctor's office. I threw up in my dorm. Depo, no. I know some people say like, oh, it messes with their appetite. I didn't experience that too much because I'm always like a big eater. I love food. And because I was on campus, we had a gym, and that was like my girl, we gonna be snatched kind of phase, where I was going to the gym all the time. So I didn't notice anything about weight gain because I was working everything off that I was eating. But just that first day alone, I wouldn't recommend Depo to anybody. But IUD, no go. It was too painful. The insertion was quick. The extraction was quick, but it was like painful. You still spot it afterwards, which turned into like a full-on period again for me, and I was just over it. The one thing I will say, since I've had the IUD and it's been taken out, my periods are a lot lighter than they normally would be. I used to be like a super tampon kind of girl and maxi pads and all that stuff like that, but now I wear like the ultra thin, and I can do sometimes like a regular or a super the first day, but after that it's super light. So maybe it affected me in that way, which I'm not mad at, because it's a lot less heavy as it was before and a lot shorter. But being on the IUD was extremely painful, and you know, I don't regret it because it allowed me to, you know, try something different. But I do regret it because I'm like, I don't know how much damage it did, and I do realize a change, whether it's good or bad, is still a change to my body. So would I recommend the IUD? No, I wouldn't. Birth control, it has, honestly, besides me forgetting, was the best option, and the NuvaRing was really good. But the IUD I would not recommend or suggest for anyone. Definitely look at different options. And then with the copper, I didn't have the copper, but I heard the copper can mess you up, like with your pH balance and your smells and things like that, and make you smell like nickel-y or whatever copper is used for. Like you smell like copper, and it throws it off. So I definitely wouldn't recommend that. But that's still the IUD, and that's for like women who've had kids and things like that. So if you have the IUD and it's working well for you and you don't feel anything, keep it in, but definitely keep an eye on things, write things down. Just be very mindful. And if you're thinking about birth control, don't do the IUD. Please don't do it, y'all. But thanks for watching. I hope this like gives some of you guys a little more inside information on the IUD if you're considering it, or if you just wanted to know how I was or how I'm doing. Baby, I'm still alive. I'm still here. And that's it. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, a week, a day. The holiday is coming up. Hopefully you have a great holiday. Hopefully nothing but good vibes is in your area. And that's it. Have a wonderful day, you guys. Bye.